Despite all the Democrat panic this week, the truth is it doesn't matter who they nominate because we are going to beat any one of them in thundering landslides. And this November is going to be amazing.
So that from Doral in southern Florida last night with Donald Trump, and this from the Cook Political Report that has made significant moves in some of these battleground states. I want to show you what they've done here. This is the shift for Cook, all right? Arizona went from a toss-up to lean Republican. State of Georgia went from a toss-up to lean Republican. Nevada, toss-up to lean Republican. Arizona's 11 electoral votes, Georgia's 16, Nevada's 6. That's 33 electoral votes just among those three states right there. We'll watch how this goes over the next 4 months. Also, there's one electoral vote here in Omaha. Nebraska does it kind of funky like Maine, where they divide up some of the congressional districts. That's one of them. One electoral vote. Nevada right now went from likely Democrat to lean Democrat, so there's movement there toward Republicans. Same for New Hampshire and same for Minnesota, so all this could be significant. This is our own Fox polling that we have done in specific states. First, this is Arizona, okay? Arizona going back to the first week of June. We had Donald Trump at 51%. Anytime you get a one-on-one competition and a candidate gets to 50, it is a very good sign for that candidate. Trump was at 51 in early June in Arizona. This is Georgia now, okay? This is back in mid-April. Our polling here at Fox, we again had Trump at 51% in the state of Georgia. It wasn't just this one poll in Georgia. Going back a couple months prior, he was at 50 plus as well. That means this whole path to 270 right now is going to change. And it's going to be altered, and we're going to fill it in as we go and try and get the best polling possible to give us the best gauge about where this race stands right now. Everything in gray is considered a toss-up, but it could change. Biden at 215, we believe that's solid as of now. Trump at...
For the past 2 days, we've been focusing on Russia, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi was visiting. Tonight, let's start from the other end of the world, where Russia's enemies are meeting, the NATO countries. Their summit kicked off in Washington, D.C. today. NATO stands for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It's basically a military alliance from the Cold War era. The Cold War is long over, but NATO still lives on, and it's growing bigger. This summit was supposed to be a celebration marking 75 years of NATO's existence, with 2 new members, Finland and Sweden. The group started with 12 members. Now it has a total of 32. So this was meant to be a birthday party of sorts. But that's not how it turned out. When the leaders met, they were confronted with challenges, differences, misaligned priorities, and the prospect of Donald Trump returning as president. So at 75, NATO has more to worry about and less to celebrate. Their biggest challenge is the war in Ukraine. Despite all military and monetary assistance, it isn't going their way. Russia is making gains. So NATO has to decide what it does next. How much support should it give Kiev? And where should it draw the line? Unfortunately and unsurprisingly, they cannot decide. The allies are divided, and leading them is their host and US President Joe Biden. He has announced fresh military support to Kiev.
Putin's war of aggression against Ukraine continues, and Putin wants nothing less than Ukraine's total subjugation. Today, I'm announcing the historic donation of air defense equipment for Ukraine.
Historic donation, he says. It's in response to this week's attacks. Ukraine suffered a wave of airstrikes from Russia on the eve of the NATO summit. The attacks killed at least 38 people. This was Russia's bloody message to NATO. In response, NATO is readying a new aid package, military support worth $43 billion. That's what's on the table. But even that may not be enough. The NATO Secretary General is asking for more. That's Jens Stoltenberg, the outgoing leader of this group. He says member countries must make multi-year commitments to Ukraine. The specifics are still being discussed. Meanwhile, Ukraine has laid out its expectations. It wants more weapons, more military support, and a free hand to strike deep inside Russia.
Well, even with blow after blow, the show must go on for Joe Biden, who has fronted the global stage for the NATO summit held in Washington, D.C. President Biden remains strong in front of the 32 NATO countries, pledging to continue the United States' defence of Ukraine in Russia's war.
Make no mistake, Ukraine can and will stop Putin. Especially with our full collective support. They have our full support.
Welcome to Mad World, our weekly Culture Wars wrap. Let's get into it. But even with President Biden's address seeming strong for NATO's 75th anniversary, it came with a few classic Biden slurring of words and slow walks off the stage.
For 5 additional strategic air defense systems. Destroy Ukraine's culture.
And while Joe Biden was busy hosting the NATO summit, his opponent, Donald Trump, was hosting his own rally in Florida. While plugging the Republican Party as bigger, stronger, more vibrant and more united than ever before, it didn't take long for the former president to take a swing at the Democrats.
Meanwhile, the radical left Democrat Party is divided in chaos and having a full-scale breakdown, all because they can't decide which of their candidates is more unfit to be president, sleepy, crooked Joe Biden or laughing Kamala. Laughing Kamala.
After a botched presidential debate last month, Donald Trump offered Joe Biden another chance at glory, which would include a golf match. It's certainly a strange time we're living in.
Did you ever see him swing? He's like this. That's why this evening I am also, and this is in honor of you and everybody here, this is 45,000 people. That's a lot of people. I'm also officially challenging Crooked Joe to an 18-hole golf match right here.
But it wasn't just Donald Trump that captured the crowd of 45,000 MAGA supporters. It was his son, Barron Trump, in attendance that received big cheers.
A very young man is now going to college, got into every college he wanted to, and he made his choice.